Hey, good evening. This is Dr. Eric Live. If you've ever heard of Murphy's Law, it just struck a few minutes ago my house here in Maine. I say that because the power went out twice, and then I had a glitch on my computer that I was trying to finish up a report, and it put me right at 8:30, and then I went to save it, and we had a power shortage. So I might have to redo the whole thing, but I'll worry about that later. Hey, Kit. Tonight I want to just talk a few minutes about some research that I did today. I went on, and it's new research, but it's old. It's new research, but it's old because one of the components of the patent that's being held by Health and Human Services on cannabidiol is talks about the fact that it has the potential to be a anti-inflammatory, a neuroprotective, and a neuroproliferative. Now, I did a whole bunch of articles this afternoon reviewing them, and neurodegeneration, the whole oxidative stress that causes this, okay, it has to get rid of. And they talk about CBD and CBDA and how it can affect the and the neurodegenerative disease. It attacks the neurogenital disease. I've already predicted that within 1 to 2 years they're going to have CBD being utilized for strokes, to increase blood supply, to get rid of the chronic, the way big chronic inflammation of all that blood that's extravasated out. And there's a process called diabetes in the lower extremities. I don't really know, because I'm not a neuroscientist, whether or not diabetes is used in the brain, because you have a barrier called the blood-brain barrier that stops a lot of things from transcending into the brain for obviously and good reasons. So it's so very interesting that way back in 1999, those four physicians that were studying at NIH, that were studying cannabidiol, and found out that it had neuroprotective. It says it right in the patent that they asked for, that took them 4 years to get, because it was contradictory to being a Schedule 1 drug. Schedule 1 drugs have no medical purpose, and here we are at the epitome of our intellect, which is known as our brain, and the fact that this plant can help the neuroprotective components to take care of the neurodegeneration, oxidative stresses that can cause all these diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's and dementia. Oh my God, isn't that amazing? I have to tell you a little story. I called my son because he has, as he said, 3,000 strangers. I said, son, I understand that you have a certain number of followers in your social media. He says, yeah. He says, about 3,000 strangers. And it was really funny because, how do you know 3,000 people? So it was very, very intuitive, or very, very interesting how he placed it. But we're trying to get vitamin CBD out there to a larger population, because this doctor believes that I have studied it to a point where I don't sell, I educate. And when we educate, people then buy. Okay, so if you want to put it into a circle, it's a circle situation, but you got to start with educating the public. But anyway, let's go back to that 1999 experiment that showed that CBD had a neuroprotective and neuroproliferation. I've read studies where they increased the number of glial cells. Glial cells are brain cells. I don't want to go too far in any direction, because they might give me one of those little white coats. But the excitement that I have in my life is going through and exploring each new component. CBG was mentioned multiple times in these studies that I reviewed today. Okay, so if we got to keep learning. Okay, if we don't, then we're behind the 8 ball. and we don't want to be there. So it doesn't matter how many years I've been in it. I'm more enthralled and excited about it than ever. I want you to become excited about it. Come back tomorrow because I'm going to have something else new for you. Okay, something else that I'm going to try to reduce down to the lowest common denominator, try to explain to you in depth, okay, in a language that you can understand. I know it gets a little funky at times because there's some words that have a hard time being interpreted or transmitted. So, nevertheless, that's what we want to do. And I'm doing this through the COVID-19 debacle because depression has gone from 8.6% to 27.8%. Okay, during the COVID situation. And I'm trying to tell you that you need your vitamin CBD. Have you had your vitamin CBD, your daily vitamin CBD, to help reduce the chronic low-grade inflammation and support your immune system? Not only that, you're going to support the neurodegenerative components that are in the brain, the oxidative stress that you got to get out of there, otherwise it's going to cause a problem. So it's kind of crazy good that that we're in something that's evolving every day. Okay, we started out CBD a year ago. When we harvest our crop, CBD was everything and a box of chocolates. And then now it's CBDA. And I went 200 miles yesterday to complete my story and get it to Nelson Analytics. That's down in Kennebunk. Okay, and Kennebunk to my house is 100 miles. But I had to get those studies done because before I put it up on the internet for you to buy, I have to validate it. Okay, and that's the difference. I'm not, my Hippocratic oath is to do no harm. Okay, so my objective is to make sure that what's on the bottle is in the bottle. And that's, once I teach you, educate you, and you basically therapeutically get better, reduce that oxidative stress in the brain through this neuroprotective anti-inflammatory situation. The other thing I saw today, I gotta just shoot it in real quick, is that they had some, I think it was Hemera, and how it basically tames the autoimmune system. When the autoimmune system becomes overactive, it destroys our own, joints. And basically they have a drug, okay, Hemera, that helps to regulate that. Well, guess what, gang? We know that the cannabidiol, CBD, and CBDA, the acid form, have the capacity to help regulate the immune system. Isn't that amazing? To regulate that cytokine storm that we talked about. Remember that cytokine storm that we talked about? Well, we're finding that CBD has the ability to regulate that. And that's what the Hemera does, okay, to regulate that. I saw a patient the other day that's taking injections every day. I mean, every week, opposed to once a month, every week, okay, to try to quell that immune system. Cannabidiol has a component that is autoimmune regulatory to keep it steady state, because it gets out of control, the cytokine storm occurs and everything goes to hell in a handbasket. Okay, you probably understood that the best. Okay, well, good evening. I'm excited that we reinforce the neuroproliferative and the neuroprotective elements of cannabidiol. And when I went and looked at the whole aspect of depression and the neurodegenerative disease or neurodegenerative oxidative stresses, it kind of pulled it together. It kind of made more sense. So that's what I want to do, is make sense with you. Thank you very much. Okay, please take care. Godspeed. Go get your dailyvitamin CBD.com. Talk to you tomorrow. Out.